This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Friday, 10th November 2023. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. All hands on deck is put forward as the approach to be adopted in the fight against crime. The point reiterated by former Attorney General Ramesh Maharaj, Senior Counsel. In a statement on the matter on Thursday, Mr. Maharaj cited the benefits to be derived from collaboration between government, police, and all stakeholders as a means of making inroads on this very serious topic. Mr. Maharaj, meanwhile, says there are lessons to be learned from government in the apparent impasse between the government and the Director of Public Prosecution, considering the rental arrangement of a building on Park Street in Port of Spain. The country was told by the Attorney General, Reginald Lamour, Senior Counsel, the building was rented for 3 years at a cost of $55 million, but never occupied. Mr. Maharaj said he was asked by some members of the media to give his views on the apparent impasse at which the DPP and his staff were intended to be relocated from Richmond Street in Port of Spain. His discourse focused on various aspects of the report, including the expert unit of the special branch of the TTPS, netcode services and security were requested, and the DPP has given explanations for not occupying the building, entitlement of the DPP, independence of his office, and importance of the joint efforts in fighting crime. A model nation of unity is how Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley describes Trinidad and Tobago. He made the assessment while speaking at Diwali celebrations at the Diplomatic Center in St. Anne's earlier this week. The Prime Minister commented on the impact of genocide and the implications of such human behavior. He said all should be done in the country to preserve harmony. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, to whom the Prime Minister referred at his October 26 news conference, has now been transferred. The PS, Kurt Meyer, was transferred on Thursday, proceeded on vacation leave, according to sources. His reassignment will be known when he resumes office from leave. The transfer is done by the PS in the office of the Prime Minister, who is the head of the public service, but said he can only transfer a permanent secretary on the instructions of the Prime Minister, according to a provision in the law. Although a PS is appointed and disciplined or removed by the Public Service Commission, the Prime Minister can transfer a permanent secretary under Section 1216A of the Constitution, which states, quote, the power to make appointments or transfer to the following offices shall be vested in the Prime Minister, A, any office of permanent secretary, one such office to another office carrying the same salary. Sources indicate Myers and Education Minister Dr. Nian Gasby-Dolly did not have a good working relationship. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has responded to questions about the transfer of PS Myers, and he responded, I have done what has to be done, and that's it. Declining to say which ministry Meyer will be transferred to. He says, I will not be engaging in any public discussion on the matter. With Meyer gone, the Education Ministry has one remaining permanent secretary, Simon Medina Williams, who is expected to manage the process of ensuring back pay to public servants in the ministry who accepted the 4% salary increase as paid in accordance with the time frame given by the Minister of Finance in the budget presentation. There are also 2 deputy permanent secretaries in that ministry. Patients in the waiting room at Mount Hope General Hospital's main entrance building were briefly evacuated owing to a faulty coffee machine on Wednesday. At approximately 12:30 p.m., a staff member noticed smoke coming from the machine, prompting an immediate evacuation. The Trinidad Fire Station was contacted and responded, arriving around 1 p.m. CEO of the North Central Regional Health Authority, Davlin Thomas, said the incident was not a fire, but rather the result of an electrical issue with the coffee machine. Thomas said after an inspection by the plant, it was confirmed and the area was safe for re-entry. In news of the region, of peaceful living in Guyana's indigenous people, particularly those who reside in border communities, has been threatened by Venezuela. The claim coming from Minister of Amerindian Affairs, Pauline Sukai, at an extraordinary sitting of the National Assembly this week. Sukai told fellow lawmakers the movement of Venezuela's military and possibly arsenal near the border shared with Guyana is cause for grave concern. And finally, toxic fog has enveloped Pakistan's Lahore city, causing tens of thousands of people to fall ill in one of the world's most polluted countries. The fog in eastern Pakistan on Thursday pushed authorities to shut schools, markets, and parks for 4 days and driven residents to wear face masks if they must go outside to protect their health. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible.
On this perfect day, the 10th day of November. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. It is 7 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. Welcome to the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital Fullcasting this morning. We'll hear from Paul Richards. You just heard it with our news brief. Of course, we have major news at 7, another news brief at 8. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, Richard Ragubara saying we got Ruben that is washing his car. That car is always clean. And my name is Steve Khan. Getting straight into the meat of the matter. Let's see what's happening on the highways and on the byways. Got a little bit of volume as you pass through Penal Davy. People stopping for doubles, I'm sure. Not a problem with that. Bring up some for me. But apart from that, nothing. Past Couva, nothing. You're going to get some traffic from Chase Village towards Sugargonis. That main road is building up. And slow going from Charlieville towards the interchange and extension into Port of Spain. Traffic again building from Trin City towards UE and just by Valsane, slow going into Port of Spain. Little volume there. Nothing really on the Eastern Main Road. All right. It is 26 degrees at Piarco International Airport. The same thing at Crown Point in Tobago. Yeah. Of course, let's see what our weather is going to be like. Got some pitter-patters from last night every so often. Met Office has not updated for the morning, but they have said yesterday that it's going to be a partly cloudy, becoming cloudy with occasional showers and no periods of rain and the 40% chance of the daytime thunderstorm. Cloudiness will persist into the evening and night times with nighttime showers and or rain. All right, that's your WTs. Let's see who sent us hello so far this morning on YouTube and Facebook, and of course on WhatsApp. Let me just pull up WhatsApp here. Yeah, pulling it up. Right. Okay, so first off the gate, we've got Garth Cillier. He's in Baltimore, Maryland at this time. Oliver Man Warren, good morning. Rennie Mohammed out in Point Lisas. Anthony Tinto out in Canada. And he says, his wife is celebrating her birthday today. Okay, happy birthday to you. Denise, all the best to you. Have a great day. Anthony Tinto. Yeah. So happy birthday to your wife. Carol Guevara, Wagwan. Wendy and James, good morning. Rena Budu Jennings, Wayne B. Marcia Rock, good morning. Dennis Bassard, Gloria Gray. Have a safe one yourself. Mo Gaines out in Aruka. Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Good morning to you. Actually, she's in New York. So good morning to you, Ray. Have a great holiday. It is a holiday in the U.S. today. It is Veterans Day in the U.S. Let's you send us hellos on WhatsApp. You have to send me a name because all I will see is a telephone number. Someone says, good morning. Long Islander, good morning to you. And of course, Chris Toussaint, good morning to you via WhatsApp at 3181021. All right. Let me say good morning, good out to the guys. Good morning to you, Paul Richards, Wendell Stephen. What's happening?
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Paul. Morning, Steve. Morning, Richard. Morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers. A special good morning to Anthony Tinto's wife, Denise. Happy birthday, Denise. I hope you're listening. Have an absolutely fantastic day.
Yeah, 3 degrees in Toronto. I didn't give 3 degrees.
I mean, Tinto, our real work to do today. Morning, Tinto. I'm sorry I wasn't there to celebrate Denise's birthday with you. But happy birthday, Denise. I really
you know, Anthony, we could board a plane arrive in Toronto, drive to your house, and we can do the show from there, you know.
Not if you're flying JetBlue.
Not
If you're
JetBlue.
flying-
JetBlue
if-
goes there.
If you're flying
No,
JetBlue,
I'm being
JetBlue
sarcastic.
just-
yeah, we'll fly to New York and then fly to Toronto.
I'm being sarcastic. I wasn't supposed to be in Trinidad now. I was supposed to be doing the show from New York.
Is that
Why?
so?
What happened?
The flight was supposed to leave at 7 last night. Got to the airport to check in. They said the flight is delayed initially till 11 this morning.
Wow.
I say, okay. And they had some crew issue, right? So no problem.
Right.
There's nothing people could do about that.
Mhm.
Went home, got another email saying the delay has been decreased. Make your way back to the airport. The flight is now 10 last night. Went back. Went into the airport, said that was a glitch. The flight is still tomorrow morning.
What the jail?
You know, I'm not saying that. I'm looking here now. I'm not even seeing a JetBlue flight. I've seen American Airlines.
I've never experienced those things in all my years of flying.
Wait. Pablo, this says your flight is at 7:02 this evening.
My goodness.
What?
Well, you wasn't supposed to go to New York, brother.
Yeah, that's a sign.
That's the way I view that, because that does never happen to me. I have to tell you all that. Not good. That has never happened to me. I have had delays, but not them kind of delays.
Well,
I have no issue with the delay, you know. I just trust in them thing. It's not that it's like New York is a novelty to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the up and down. In.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't go, I don't go. Is they already understand? If I don't go, okay, I don't go. I'm going, oh my God, I can't. No. It's the up and down.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a regular JetBlue flight for today.
Airport and then send you back home again. Come on.
Yeah, I'm seeing a regular JetBlue flight for this evening, but I didn't even know if your plane is on the ground.
I was even listening to you this morning, Steve.
Say again?
I have received no correspondence that the flight that is supposed to leave at 11 is not leaving this morning at 11. So
yeah,
I will go with that.
So you're going for 11. So
But
you
I'm
literally
going for 8:30.
That's what I say. You have to go almost immediately after the program.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, good
I
luck.
don't know. It wild me up so much. I slept like an hour and a half last night.
Yeah, because
you were really
you're jumpy. Because you're thinking they might actually call you back again.
No, I told them.
This morning.
I told them. I said, I'm going home to sleep. Don't send any emails. If the plane come early, you leave it right there. Don't move it until I reach.
I've only used JetBlue once,
But of course, you know, I squeezed every possible consequential addition out of that.
Well, yeah.
Inconvenience. Every single one. I think I make a meeting that could I make $1 million.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you know, your passport was right in front of you. As a senator, you have money.
I have to book a hotel to stay the extra day. I have to rearrange my hotel in New York.
No, but Paul, if your flight is delayed more than 3 hours, did you get any vouchers?
No, you have to go on to the, well, it makes no sense going on to the site until you actually get on the flight to identify when you actually leave. Because then you'll be able to calculate how many hours you're delayed and put it in the counter to get to know what your recompense is.
But you know, I had just this week, I was having a conversation with a member of staff in here. And that individual is telling me that they left their hotel in Fort Lauderdale to go to Fort Lauderdale International to board a Caribbean Airlines flight, only to be told, well, when the person got there, they're saying, why is there nobody in the airport? Where's everybody for this flight?
You're right. From the time I walk in the airport and I see nothing but no line, nobody, I say something up here.
Yeah, something up.
Well, people knew that.
I said, well, I guess people got the email. I didn't check my email in the car. You understand?
Yeah.
But JetBlue is very efficient at sending emails about delays. They always do that.
Yeah, they
Update on
do.
flight XYZ123.
They
Update.
do. So
And
let me.
as I said, I didn't mind the initial delay. So okay, well, it is what it is. I always say safety before jumping in that plane and it follow the sky. That's another business, but it's the up and down.
But so continuing the story. So when the individual got to the airport and saw no one, they walked up to the Caribbean Airlines counter and they said, "Why is there no one here?" "Oh, the flight is cancelled. Oh, we didn't. They had a shortage of staff." I said, "Okay." And the person is saying, "Well, you don't have no family member to call to come back for you or for you to stay?" She said, "No. You have to find your own hotel, find your way back, come back tomorrow." So
British Airways had a delay. Last time I flew British Airways, there was a delay of a few hours, but nothing like this. I mean, we actually remained at the airport because it made no sense going anywhere to come back. Yeah, it was like a 5-hour delay.
I don't consider this a delay. I consider that a cancelled flight yesterday and a new flight.
Yeah,
that's a delay. Yeah. Although I was delayed for 12 hours in Canada already, so I mean, this is to me more than a delay. This is a new flight,
Yeah,
it's a new flight. Now, how are they going to maneuver the folks that were supposed to travel today and the folks that traveled yesterday? That's
they do it all the time.
Yeah, they know how to do it.
Yeah, they have to stick in a flight somewhere. They have to stick in a flight.
They just send another craft for the additional people.
Yeah.
And she did say that the flight, I said, "So we're getting on this flight not to make it worth my while." She said, "Well, they have a lot of alcohol that you'll get for free." I said, "I don't drink. I'll give you a long leg seat because you have long legs." I said, "Oh, you know
that." You're tall, Dr. Richards. You're tall. I can tell you have long feet.
I was being facetious.
I was going somewhere else, but I decided not to.
She said, "So you get the long leg seat for free." I said, "I had to open the door, something happened. They gave me work too."
Yep, that's exactly. You're going in exit row.
I think I just fall for that foolishness. The girl started, the woman started to laugh. I said, "That long leg seat that always give everybody, don't always charge more for his walking, his walk quiet, charging people for work to work,
But JetBlue is effectively a maxi taxi in this guy, eh?
I say I appreciate that you all are under pressure. So I'm not going to lose my mind today and get on like a war home because I know it's not your fault. Thank you.
Spirit Airlines is like a maxi in the sky. It's a maxi.
No, JetBlue is a maxi in the sky.
JetBlue is the same thing?
Yeah. You should travel with Spirit.
If you want to lose move your leg to the left, you have to pay for that. If you want to raise up your head, you have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my scene this morning. But I give time and party. I don't trust those things. What is to is this is, and what is to not is do is. So I don't really stress those things. There's flight not going and flight delayed and thing. I don't trust them. That's
you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You can't really at the end of the day.
So let me ask you a question, Paul, and this is a huge debate. When you board and you sit down, do you recline your seat? That is a huge issue now.
I saw that debate. Let me tell you something. I hardly ever, but I'm telling you, I have the option and I will exercise it when I need to.
I do.
Most times I will look back to just make sure I'm not.
Yeah, I look back to be courteous. I'm going to recline the seat now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I probably won't say anything, but I just look back to just
reclining. Yeah, reclining is an option that I take. I don't really care. If you don't like it, there's your problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people recline on me and
yeah, Paul, I'm sending you a message.
I know people recline on you. I hear that.
I recline. Well, these days I'll have to ask the next I travel if I can recline. I sit on an aisle and I pull up the armrest that's on the aisle. So I'm a bit free.
I always sit on an aisle.
You can do that, right? You can pull up when you sit on an aisle, you can pull up the armrest on the aisle.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a little button on there to hit that and it opens up.
Yeah. What I don't do is recline when something is being served, either a drink or dinner or whatever. I don't recline during that time. And you're not supposed to. You're really not supposed to. Anyway, I have some birthday greetings I want to get out of the way. I have belated birthday greetings to the aunts of Pamela. That's Aunt Annette Sidney French and Lynette Sidney Hicks. They celebrated their birthday on Wednesday last. So happy belated birthday greetings to those two ladies. And I also have a few birthdays today. Apache Richards, well, he's Curtis Richards. He lives abroad now. Alderman Wade Coker is celebrating his birthday today. Andrew Ramrup, Robinson Manswell, Gary Cox, Hayden Alexander, he used to be an alderman at the Tunapuna Piaco Corporation. Christopher Pinocchio, who is also Timothy Timal, who writes with his Gary Griffiths, NTA's communications man. Happy birthday, Timothy. German Isaac, Marvin Ellis, Ignitia Phillip, they all celebrate birthdays today, November 10th, 2023. All right.
Yeah.
So
Today
those
is
are my-
Leo Ramkissoon's birthday as well, the president of the Fire Services Association.
Okay. Happy
Good morning.
birthday.
Let's say also good morning to P.S. Kurt Meyer.
Yeah.
Okay, why?
Because he now knows his place.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
Well, he created a whole big furor over back pay for Christmas. And now
Where is he now?
And he
He
apparently
don't-
had just
he
gone
don't
into
know.
that ministry, you know.
He and all don't know. You will know when he come back out from leave.
But he had just gone into that ministry, I heard. Like June or July month, he had just gone into that ministry. Ministry of Education.
He needs to do his research to realize who he should not cross.
Well, yeah, and it says that the Prime Minister has that authority, yeah?
Yeah, but it have some ministers you could cross and some ministers you can't cross.
Well, yeah.
That is true.
But he didn't just cross one minister. He crossed a whole, just by saying probably what to him might be a reality.
But all ministers are not created equal.
Well, that's my real good friend. Eh?
You have to choose who you're crossing very, very carefully.
That particular minister is my real good friend. Eh?
I'm not talking about any particular minister. I'm talking generally. You have to choose who you're crossing very carefully. It's some people you could cross, and some people you should not imagine to cross.
I would imagine. And talking about crossing, only give me 2 seconds. Give me a couple of minutes. Yesterday, on the Power Breakfast show, you all invited a guest to deal with a particular situation.
Not you all.
You can say Steve.
And a particular guest, let me finish now.
A guest was invited.
A guest was invited on the Power Breakfast show to deal with a particular unauthorized situation in the bamboo, right? Now, first beginning, let me say, it's 4 people I don't talk to. Inchan Ishmael, Philip Alexander, Anil Roberts, and David Nackett. I will never participate in anything, any interview with them 4 guys, right? They are disrespectful, they are insulting, and they are extreme. So Richard say extreme, he say Richard call him an extremist. I telling you this morning in Chanishmel, you are extreme in your language, okay? You can interpret that how you want. You can ask for this tape today. But I would never have participated in that interview. And to listen to him speak to Richard in the way he spoke to Richard and almost threatening Richard on the radio station after, I said, but what level of madness are you hearing here this morning, boy? You admitting that you have a bunch of illegal structures in the bamboo, right? You said that, right? And now you're blaming the PNM. That's where you went. You said the PNM coming to stop you from putting up another illegal structure. So who allowed you to put up all the other illegal structures before? It's not the same PNM in Apmanda, in Janishmel? Oh, please, give me a break. Roxanne Mohammed, David Mohammed's wife, wrote a very good status yesterday on Facebook. Well, you should find it and read it. Because it's just a bunch of lawlessness and everybody must turn a blind eye. And then you reach a stage now where you threatening, you take offense at Richard saying your language is extreme, your behavior is extreme. And you say that what? Richard saying because he's a Muslim, he's an extremist. Well, if the cap fits, wear it. You and others are extreme in all your behavior and all your language, right? Ridiculous. That program upset me no end yesterday, you know. It ups and somebody like Richard, you got attacked. Richard, who is the most balanced, fair individual on planet Earth sometimes. You understand? You attack Richard like that on air, on a radio station, and attacking our program, and you calling tap for the tape and thing. Call for the tape for today too, because you are extreme. Thank you.
I've been doing this a while, eh?
Huh?
I've been doing this a while. And I understand when we sit here, there are objectives to engaging in an interview. We're not just doing interviews for doing interview's sake, right? And the objective to me is always finding the truth and accuracy in information about a situation, person, or evolving environment. Would you agree?
Yes.
If I don't think I'm going to get that from a guest, I am not going to participate. And it must be predicated on respect. So if those conditions are not satisfied, I'm going to turn off this camera and this mic and come back when it's done.
Yeah.
And I make absolutely no apologies for that.
Yeah. No, he was despicable yesterday, man. I mean, he's been despicable before, but he was absolutely despicable yesterday in his unwarranted, unjustified, unnecessary attack on Richard and on the show.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You're called to talk about an illegal structure. Okay? You're talking about an illegal structure. You go on, you would have calling PNM Mugabe and this, and you're being spited. You were just hugging up Dr. Rowley and PNM the other day when you was getting your way. You were walking all over them and campaigning with them. Huh? And all of a sudden now you hate everybody and they're attacking you because you're a Muslim? Oh, please, give me a break. You're extreme.
It's Friday morning. Happy Diwali, Trinidad and Tobago. Let's bring some light into the conversation.
Yeah.
Happy Diwali. Yeah. We in the weekend have one of the most beautiful observances in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of days last night lit, people moving around, and it's a really beautiful time of the year.
Yeah, I've been following it through the news, and they're doing a lot of stories in the Diwali Nagar. You know, this morning I saw a story on a lady who making pepper roti. You know, some very interesting stories coming out of the Diwali Nagar. I've never attended the Diwali Nagar.
You are missing out. It's a beautiful experience.
No, you have to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I was
My
just to tell
issue
people
is the traffic situation, but yeah, you have to do it.
Yeah, I've actually only also gone to the Emancipation Village once, you know, in all the years that they've had it.
No,
I've only done that parade once too, you know.
Then did that.
I've gone to that village once, you know. So I don't want people to go away with the impression that I just don't want to go Diwali Nagar. No, I generally don't go very, very crowded places. Which is why I didn't like Carnival for years. I stayed away from Carnival too. You know? But yeah, so this weekend is a long weekend. It also is a weekend where the Port of Spain Corporation has started their cleanup campaign. They've launched a cleanup campaign. I know we were supposed to speak with Councillor Esther Sylvester, who's the chairman of Physical. But they've launched a cleanup campaign, and it's happening in the St. James area this weekend. So people take advantage of it on Saturday and Sunday. If you live in the St. James area, put out your white waste and so on, and they will pick it up. You know how that is sometimes, right?
I think that should be done in all areas at least once a month.
Well, they're doing it in all the districts of Port of Spain starting this weekend.
I have real stuff to throw out when they come in. In Port, I have real stuff to throw out.
Well, you are sour until
no, at the office.
Oh, at the office, you're Port of Spain.
Yeah.
So they'll get to.
You see, you haven't been here in a while. We have changed up a few things.
Is that so?
Yeah.
The kettle and the microwave and the stove still there?
No, you went upstairs. We downstairs. Yes, those are still up there.
Okay, downstairs change.
Well, we did some little work.
That little room you in the change.
No.
And I ain't coming. It's two places I just go. In that little room where you're in the kitchen.
Which I've always said Steve is crazy to occupy. Because that room has broadcast equipment and it emanates waves which can affect your virility and sterility. Good morning, Richard.
Hi, good morning,
Guys.
guys.
We all in blue today, guys.
Maybe it's too late for that with Steve now anyway. So
It's late.
Lord have mercy.
you might as well
It's
stay in
too
the room,
late.
Steve, because you're in that room for 20 years now. So I mean, is that is done for the
If you all, you know, this is sidetrack. If you all
what?
read,
Then for that swimming through. Then for that swimming through. There's swimming straight again at two.
You had a twister walk in that room.
Radiation mashed them up already.
You had a twister walk in that room.
Then for that,
but you know,
Thanks for your sacrifice for the job. We appreciate it.
Yeah, boy.
thanks for your service. Did you all read DL's message on the YouTube chat? I totally
Yes,
agree with that.
I'm not going to post it. I had the temptation to post it, but I'm not going to give that individual any more oxygen.
No, I'm talking about the message. There's a message on our.
I know I saw the message,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to post it. I don't
The
think
one where he
I
said
don't think we
Richard
should give him any
Richard
more
really got
oxygen.
1,000. He said Richard really got 1,000% more respect from everyone yesterday.
Before that.
Well, if I was close to Richard, he'd get one clout yesterday.
Yeah. Is the message before that?
Yeah, I see the message before that.
I totally agree with that. You remember there was a police officer, your good friend Wendell, that used to be on the PBR all the time. And I said that same thing regarding that individual. That's why he did it. So said, so done. Remember, he pulled his
He's on a charge.
service. He's on a charge for pulling his service firearm on his wife.
Oh Lord, Steve, look where you going.
That was news.
This one is news too.
I would just say something there, but
This one with the put up here is news too. You have everybody rushing to YouTube now to see what DL put. Oh, good. Richard?
I don't have papers.
No, it's too early for papers.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just saying, I couldn't wait for you to come on to deal with that situation yesterday. I had to vent. It upset me no end, you know. And again, as I say, if he uses this show to get his moments of glory, because that's what he's going to do. He's going to use that show yesterday to get his moments of glory on his show. So be it. We could be his guinea pig to get whatever glory he wants. Almost call him something else, yes. But he is extreme. I can tell you that. I agree with you with that. He was extreme yesterday, and he's been extreme before. And he'll be extreme again. He and them are the three names that are called. But just so the weather changed last night. Just so.
Yes. It was so hot during the day, and all of a sudden I was like, where does rain come from?
Pouring rain.
And I was like, what? All of a sudden,
Mm.
you know, it was so nice and wonderfully sunny because, well, you know, we love sunny days, Wendell. So it was,
Oh, of course we love sunny days.
it was so wonderfully sunny, and you know, and all of a sudden, bam, weather changed. But this morning seems a little erratic.
Yes, today looks like it's going to have rain.
Yeah, well, it's a little erratic right now. It was just raining, and now it's seeing sun, so it's already erratic. But hopefully the sun wins out.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Good morning,
After
Janelle
this
John Bates. Yes, I'll be attending the Marionettes. Marionettes having the show, I think, is December 3rd and 4th, or 4th and 5th that weekend. So I wonder,
At Queen's Hall.
God willing, I will. Yeah, at Queen's Hall. God willing, I will attend that show. I only attended. I've heard about that show for years, and last year was the only first time I've ever gone there. The Marionettes and the Lydians. I went both shows.
Is Lydians at Queen's Hall? I don't think they are, you know.
Both shows were at Queen's Hall.
No, but this year.
Last time. Oh, I'm not sure.
This year, I think, because you have all of the Christmas shows. You know, a lot of times people say, how come theater isn't in the middle of Christmas? Because one, it's difficult to get space. Because you have so many events that occupy theaters across the country, whether it's end of year events or whether it's the traditional Christmas. There are certain traditional Christmas shows that take place. Marionettes, Love Movement, Brian McFarlane, and you also have John Thomas, we believe.
John Thomas has
all of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have a vying for space. So we generally not in that space. In addition to,
we never do a Christmas play.
I've done a Christmas not as a production company. I've acted in a Christmas play years ago called A Christmas Vaps. I was actually Scrooge.
What part did you play? The Scrooge?
I was Scrooge.
Typecast.
I was the lead character.
Quite appropriate casting.
They just tell you go and act. They just tell you go on the stage and
just gonna be yourself.
That was it. They didn't tell you act.
Just gonna be yourself. Just be yourself.
I had to battle with the ghosts of Christmas, past, present, and future.
Just be yourself.
But it was a local story. Was it written by Mark Lindsay? I think it might have been, you know. I can't remember if it was Mark Lindsay or Christine
Mark
Johnson.
Lindsay writes plays?
I think at that point, I think he may have written A Christmas Vaps. I can't remember. Or was it...
you ever meet Mark? But you know Mark Lindsay, right? You know him?
Yeah. And
good morning.
And or was it Christine Johnson? It was Bagas or Bagas. Years ago. And but I was Scrooge.
That's what you call him, eclectic.
He's eclectic. Good morning to Michael Robinson, all the way in Japan, listening to us.
Hey, Japan in the house, boy. Nice. They were
I have a potential question based on that that development in the Ministry of Education.
With the PS, yes.
Do you agree with the PS being transferred?
Yeah, it got a lot of commentary yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Well, first we have to assume that he's being transferred because of that incident. Because it doesn't have to be. The Prime Minister, when asked about it, said, I did what needed to be done. Oh, he said that?
Because he has the power under the Constitution to do it.
No, he does, but I didn't know he actually said that.
He said, I did what needed to be done, and I'm not engaging in any talk about it.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. So then the question is valid.
He get transferred.
Right. So the question is valid.
Go interfere
with who?
With my ability to pay back pay.
Doctor for doctor. Don't interfere
with my ability to pay back pay. See, I finished my sentence.
Interfere with our doctors. I will say that. Don't interfere with our doctors.
Our ability to pay our back pay, as we've announced.
No, you said something like,
because
what was that?
We before you came on, we were saying.
Nice Paul being eclectic.
But before you came on, we were saying there are some ministers, not all ministers are created equal, and there are some ministers you do not cross swords with.
Well, I don't even know if
the response will be swift.
If I think any minister in a position that PS would have put that minister in would have gotten that same result, though. That's my opinion. Because come on, the Minister of Finance in a budget statement said that he has instructed all the PSs, well, his PS, that is, because his PS will be the main PS, to ensure that the back pay is paid to everybody by Christmas. You tell your line minister, we can't pay that by Christmas, that is for May next year or something. So. But what do you expect?
Don't get in the way.
What do you expect?
Don't get in the way. You get in the way.
And teachers done struggling and
read the terms and conditions of your employment. You are a permanent secretary. You're in permanent, no specific place.
That is a fact.
Okay, it
That-
might be permanent, but it ain't permanent in no specific place.
That is a fact.
They can't reduce your salary or your status,
Thank,
but they can say it the ground review.
thank goodness, and I'm saying this out loud, that the person is a mayor, Keith Mayor. You know what I mean by that, right?
No.
Thank goodness the person is of that ilk. I would imagine. I'm assuming.
Oh God, it's 6:41. Anybody have papers? I ain't
Yeah,
even
Richard.
not ready for this morning.
No, I don't have papers.
No, Paul, if it was the other way, you know very well we were having a next set of
I
debate.
don't know what other way you're talking about, sir.
Don't play stupid with me this morning.
I have
Don't play
no
eclectic.
idea what
Don't
other
play-
way you're talking
I
about.
get
Would
a
you-
new word. Don't
would-
play
Would you care to
don't play
elaborate?
eclectic with me this morning.
Would you care to
Don't
elaborate?
play eclectic this minute.
Would you
Because
ca-
if he
I'm
was,
confused.
Me too.
Kit Raghubar Singh,
Oh my
we would
God.
have been having a different debate.
It's
Being a
a
lawyer.
nice weekend. Let me just stay on course.
If he was
Right.
Muslim,
No, Wendell. Let's
let
not
me behave. Let me
That's
behave. Let me
not-
behave.
let's
Let
not
me
go down that
behave.
road, please.
Let me
That-
behave. Let me
if I'm
behave.
looking
No,
at
I just-
that,
I'm
if
trying
you're
to
making
make.
fun of serious
I'm
issues,
actually
right?
trying. I'm actually trying to make light of that
Let's
situation.
let's
yesterday
not
because
go
it had
down
me
the
so
road
upset.
in that way. Let's
It
not
had
make
me
road
so
there.
upset. Yeah,
Yeah, because-
I'll pull back. I'll pull back.
Because you know people like to
apologize.
interpret what may be said in the best of intentions and they put their interest in. So let's just not.
So let me put out a public apology. I apologize.
Right. But member, withdraw the statement, please.
I've withdrawn, Speaker.
Right. Very good.
Hmm.
Chair, not speaker.
Richard, deal with papers there.
Mm-hmm. I
Fast.
say good morning going out to Beauty Culture, Ingrid Adams, Rena Buduk-Jennings, Doreen Pierre, Michael Robinson, CJ from New York, good morning. Ian Robley, morning. Anu,
6:43.
Victor,
Let's start with the Express, Friday, 10th November.
Oh, yeah.
The Express said, Richard, you asked me, you said you have no papers, right?
No, I don't. This one.
Right, let's start with the Express. 9 DPP did not choose Park Court. I see Ramesh Nasmara jumping the fray now. Very interesting. Is it that, anyway, right, he's somebody I expected, but I find Ramesh profile is raising a lot these days.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's involved in everything, eh?
Yeah, it's very interesting. But he's the two things that he was actually directly involved in. I don't know that he was directly involved in this DPP state issue, it was odd for me to hear him make a statement on it. But he said the media asked him for his comments, so he's making a general comment. And I think we're playing back a recording, Steve.
yeah, come at 9 o'clock. We'll rebroadcast that press conference.
Yeah. All right. DPP did not choose Park Court. Businessman's passport, driver's license, payment notification, cell number leaked in TSTT cyber attack. You mean
Cell
TSTT?
number?
You mean he was more than what TSTT said it was? That's what you're saying?
Cell
Bamboo.
numbers and mobile number.
Apparently. But that's what the
Oh,
experts
you know?
are saying. You mean it's actually more than what TSTT said was leaked? Okay. It wasn't. So all that insensitive, driver's license, payment notification, cell number. That insensitive. Okay.
TSCT's a mess.
Bamboo guard boost illegal. Missing for days. Dad found by farmers. Or duty to effect change. Man dies after being shot. Let's go to the Guardian online. Ramesh backs DPP in 55 million building fiasco. Security issues not properly addressed. West Trinidad market faces 58.24% electricity hike. Defense lawyer star witness claims she was mastermind of killing. Gonzalez firing up
That's a crazy story, yeah.
call. TT Chamber urges companies to report cyber attacks. Suspicious transfer of PS worries union boss. It ain't suspicious. Why it's suspicious? It's very clear what happened. Cops guarding president's house upset. Use defense force for that. U.S. government encouraged by TNT's first human trafficking conviction. Let's move.
Paul, quickly, did you say cops guarding PS's house?
President's house. Maybe I misspoke.
President.
President's house. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I misspoke. Let's go to the Newsday. Man's decomposing body found in Chaguanas. Coffee machine causes evacuation at Mount Hope. Proman celebrates young entrepreneur. Salvation Army launches Red Kettle Appeal. And Ministry of Education tech work training standardized across institutions. Ramesh on the 55 million rental fiasco. Don't blame the DPP. COP witnesses claim to be mastermind between Maruga murders in letter to DPP. TSTT's week of evasion and half-truths. That's a headline. And the Wali Naga, converging culture and commerce for prosperity. So those are trending stories in your three major dailies today.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Was Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj engaged by the office of the DPP to thing, or is that just a public statement
No,
he made on?
he said that he was asked by the media to comment on it, what he thought about it.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're going with the question with the PS, right? From the Ministry of Education.
Let me give the results of our poll from yesterday. Yesterday we asked you, do you think the executive of TSTT should be suspended to allow the independent investigation into the cyber attack so it can be carried out? That was our poll yesterday. The results are in. 81% said yes.
Well, clearly that's not happening. Unless the PM have that kind of veto power too. Paul is busy typing.
Yeah, he's typing up our morning polls to begin. Start to call, 222-8255. Toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. Of course, on YouTube and Facebook, you tell us yes or no. Also, on WhatsApp at 318-1021. The question this morning.
He changed it.
Yeah,
Victor Charles is asking, I think, what is an important question, though. How were we made aware of the PS making this statement? Well, that's my interpretation of it. Did the PS make a public statement?
No, PSs don't make public statements.
Right. So it would have come via. I'm wondering how he would have informed the minister, if it's by word or by letter or by email.
Didn't he call
because
the
the only time we heard about it is when the Prime Minister raised it on the platform,
Colm Ilbert also raised it, the Minister of Finance.
He raised it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he raised it. And remember, he raised it and said, no PS in his ministry could tell him.
Dare do something like that.
Yeah,
yes, he responded that way.
And he mentioned which ministry it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So our morning poll. Do you agree with the transfer of the permanent secretary in the Education Ministry? That's our poll. All right. Send us yes or no's via YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp. Do you agree with the transfer of the PS in the Education Ministry?
Anon is saying he wrote to the minister. Okay.
Wayne B says yes to the poll and happy birthday to his sister.
It's not going to be a conversation. If he says no, the minister will say, well, write that to me. You put that in writing for me. You understand?
Yeah.
And give me reasons why. That's how it will go in the public service. It's not going to be, I can't do that, Nobody's going to act like you say, I can't do that. You have to write it. You have to respond to, you're going to be an instruction to get X and Y ready, and you will respond and say you can't do it. You understand?
Right.
And reasons why, hopefully. It ain't going to be a conversation. They're going to act like that's not a conversation.
All right. So I said Wayne B said yes. You got that. Gregory Bauer says yes. Michael Robinson says yes. Ian Robley says yes. Arno says yes. Ish out in Malik says no. Jean Clark says yes. Miss West says yes. Another one on WhatsApp says yes. All right, so 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099.
To be fair and add context to the story, I think among the reasons he had given, I saw reported in a newspaper, was that he didn't have the staff to complete all the calculations. It's not just he just let people should go out with the impression that he just said no because I ain't feel to do it. You understand?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I get another little piece of inside info as to why you would have said no to.
Uh-huh.
Guy
I
Small
don't wanna
says,
say- I
hell
don't wanna
no.
say something.
But one of the newspapers report he had a contentious working relationship with the line minister, Dr. Gatsby Dolly.
But he just went there, they said, in July.
He didn't do his research.
All right. So, gentlemen, Guy Small says, hello. Wayne Joseph out in Ontario, Canada, 3 degrees by you, says yes. Julia S. Batiste says yes. Long Islander says yes. I got another yes from someone. Sufroll says yes. Right. Yeah. Do you agree with the transfer of the PS in the education ministry?
Of course, it's reported that this PS was he wasn't, they didn't say why he was transferred, but it's reported that this PS had informed his line minister that it will not be possible for the back pay to be paid by Christmas as per instructed. And their speculation, well, not their speculation, Paul just confirmed the prime minister said, yes, he did what he had to do.
Well, he said I did what I had to do, and according to section 121(6)(a) of the Constitution states, the power to make appointments or transfer the following offices shall vest in the Prime Minister. A, the office of Permanent Secretary from one such office to another, such as such office carrying the same salary. So the Prime Minister does have the power to say, hey,
Yeah, he does.
Hmm.
I heard that confirmed yesterday, but I didn't know he actually said that, yes, I did it.
and he said, I did what I had, what needed to be done, and because it's this exact thing. Wait, go on.
Carol Guevara says yes. Wait, good. Do you agree with the transfer of the PS in the education ministry? That is our morning poll. All right. All right.
Oh, I have done what has to be done, and that's it. That's a quote from the Prime Minister.
You remember when a minister had said the prime minister has spoken in response to a question? You don't remember that? When approached about something, the minister responded, the prime minister has spoken. Oh, you don't remember that?
No.
Lord, why am I the only one to be remembering these things? And I remember who was the minister
What
and who was
statement
the
is
prime
that?
minister. I can't remember in what context, but a minister, when approached by the media, said the prime minister has spoken. And that was the end of the interview. Alistair Hart says yes. And you got Carol Guevara, right? You called Carol Guevara name?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I have all those. Yes, that happened. That happened in, I'll tell you what year. That happened between 2000 and, in its middle of 2000, somewhere there.
Get it done. No excuses. You need more staff, hire more staff.
If you have to dig up, if you have to go in the old vault and dig out all the files and things, get it done.
We have to do. Make day to night.
Because trust me, it must be one old dusty vault in that Ministry of Education. All those are new building. All the old files once you come over from by QRC there. You know how across they used to look like a crypt. all the old files come across into that new building and must be old and dusty. Lord. Anyway, pay them the back pay. I think my sister have a little raise to get, so she gonna need it.
Give people the money.
We worry money now.
You know, I didn't know that there was a brawl. Apparently, there was a brawl of some sort between St. Mary's and Fatima after a football match.
Really?
Brawl as in fight?
As in a fight?
Huh?
I'm only saying the only reason I know of it is because I was just reading a letter to the editor by Arnold Cornell, talking about, you know,
He's the Fatima coach.
how disappointed he was because he had attended both schools. He was giving his history with both schools, and he said how disappointed he was, and he said went viral. But I can't remember seeing that. And he said, but after a football match, and which is so unusual because it's brother schools.
Yeah.
So I don't know what
fights with schools not unusual, but I have to admit I didn't hear about that particular fight.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it at all.
Paul, phone.
Good morning, my dear Paul. Good morning, Richard, Steve, Wendy.
Good morning, Zena.
Morning, Zena.
And I instructed that airline to call you and tell you to stay right here. This kind of weather is for young ducks like us. So I don't know where you were heading. You like coldness?
She's a young dog.
Dogs just lift about 300 or what?
Yeah.
Very careful.
And then I am talking.
So after 100, it's still young Wender.
Yes.
And then this is going between Paul and I. Still,
Young ducks. Sorry, I forget this.
Where you going with this brother?
You're too fast, Wendell, when you're heading in Ghana. Nobody doesn't know. It's after we hear in your call.
Paul head was
Ghana.
in Ghana too, you know.
Yeah, no. Listen.
But Zena,
Paul heading in Ghana too?
I made sure I'm leaving a combustible material in the fireplace. I made sure the fireplace was well covered with combustible material.
The furnace is heated up. You want to go on cold.
Zena,
Like,
what is your vote? It have children listening still. What is your vote? It have children listening still. You and Paul save all you think for after.
They suspend. No, when you going on with it, you just like it. But you don't.
No, not in the first hour. We think about the school children.
Listen to me. That yes, they just transferred a problem. She should have been suspended.
Can't do.
Yeah.
Nah, you can't suspend them. I do think so.
I mean,
Well, at least
that
I'm
doesn't like
The law says transfer. The law didn't say discipline. Where's she going?
She going on a different ministry to tell the minister the other boss that.
I tell you, they will protect local government.
Yeah, where all the exiles are.
All right. Well, when you're all ready to talk all your stories the next hour, I'm under my blanket, my piano.
All right.
Enjoying the
The exiled ministry, they're calling it local government.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I don't tell you, I can't let them into that blanket already.
What's the place in Russia they used to send you?
Siberia?
Siberia, right. Yes, Siberia. Siberia, they used to ship you off there whenever they want to exile you.
Well, he didn't even know where you going when you come back from vacation.
But he was on vacation already.
He went and leave, so they said he will be advised where he's being transferred to when he comes back from leave.
Well, yeah. He better go there and organize back pay
Wherever
fast.
is it organized? Wherever is it, but they're going to move you every month.
Because and the checks are signed by the PS, Richard.
Yes. The authorization for the expenditure is signed off by the PS.
It's signed off by the PS.
Well, the PS is the accounting officer.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I don't know, would they probably may sign checks too, yes.
Yes, the PS signs checks.
Yeah, they may sign. They're the accounting officer.
Yeah.
And they're personally liable,
Personally liable, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that PSs have a huge responsibility, which is why some of them take the positions that they take. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who think. But I don't know of any PS outside of the issue with live sport. I don't know of any PS that was publicly named and probably dragged to the courts. You know, I don't know of any other PS outside of that live sport incident.
Well,
that live sport incident was Creed, right?
PSs sometimes run afoul of their relationship with ministers because ministers
sometimes like to overreach.
Sometimes ministers want XYZ and PSs will say that can't be done.
Yeah.
Or it can't be done in the timeline you want.
Or not
that's
not done at all. The regulations or the rules.
Yeah, because they would have intimate knowledge of public service regulations.
Yeah.
And they are the accounting officer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the minister doesn't sign off on a check.
Can't.
PS.
All right, so gentlemen, we got to run into our major news. Avril Hill Bab is in, so let's get into it. All right, here we go.
Power 102 Digital. Streaming 24/7 on power102fm.com and on the Power 102 Digital app. Power 102 Digital. This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
General Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj says DPP not to blame in the $55 million building fiasco. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley remains tight-lipped about the transfer of Permanent Secretary out of the Ministry of Education. The TNT Chamber calls on companies who experience a cyber attack to ensure they inform affected customers, and fix smog shuts down Pakistan's Lahore, sickens tens of thousands. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Bab. Good morning. Former Attorney General Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj is defending Director of Public Prosecutions Roger Gaspard and his staff's decision not to move into a new office on Park Street, Port of Spain, although the state had paid $55 million in rental for it. In a release yesterday, Maharaj said after launching what he termed an independent investigation, he concluded that the DPP could not be blamed for the expenditure on the building. Lawrence Maharaj said there are lessons which could be learned from the apparent impasse between the government and the DPP concerning the rental agreement of the building at 15 to 17 Park Street in Port of Spain. The country was told by Attorney General Reginald Armour the building was rented for 3 years at $55 million, but is not yet occupied. Mr. Maharaj said he was asked by some members of the media to give his views on the apparent impasse at which the DPP and his staff were intended to be relocated from Richmond Street in Port of Spain. In his conclusion, Mr. Maharaj said the DPP did not have any input in the decision made by the government to enter into the rental agreement of the building, which the government entered into in 2019. His discourse focused on various areas, such as the reports of the expert unit of the special branch of the TDPS, NIDCO's services and security were requested. The DPP gave explanations for not occupying the building, entitlement of the DPP, and importance of the joint efforts to fight crime.
In the investigation conducted by Sandra Jones, pursuant to the decision of the Cabinet, one of the questions which she posed to the DPP was as follows. I will state what the question is, and I would also state what the DPP's answer was. Question, open quotes, from a leadership position and project management perspectives, what are the lessons to be learned by decision makers with respect to the involvement of key stakeholders from the planning and implement stages of the project?
However, Mr. Lawrence Maharaj said there are lessons which can be learned from this development.
Answer of the DPP, open quotation. Some of the lessons which may be learned from the project are: 1. The time from selecting the building to its eventual outfitting and readiness for occupation was inordinately long. 2. The core business of the office to be relocated must be borne in mind in selecting a suitable area for relocation. 3. Safety of the lives which occupy the proposed site must assume primacy over any other consideration, least of all the costs of the rental or the lease.
There will be a rebroadcast of this on Power 102 Digital at 9 a.m. today. A model nation of unity is how the Prime Minister has described Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. Keith Rowley made the assessment while speaking at Diwali celebrations held at the Diplomatic Centre St. Anne's this week. The Prime Minister commented on the impact of genocide and the implications of such human behavior. He said all should be done to preserve harmony in this country.
It's unfortunate that we'll have to accept that this thing called genocide has been a part of human history in every part of the world. As recent as World War II, there was genocide in Europe and elsewhere in the world. And we thought that that was the passing of history. We didn't think that we'd be experiencing it in our lifetime, because groups of human beings, from time to time, try to separate themselves from other human beings on the mention of superiority of one kind or another.
In spite of differences which exist, Dr. Rowley cited the importance of a united people.
Notwithstanding a comment from one or two of us as to whether or not we are a real place, Sparrow in 1962 said, "Tell the world there's a model nation at last." Ladies and gentlemen, we are a model nation. We are the nation that started from the very first day of our existence to embrace all. In our national anthem, it says, "Every creed and race finds an equal place." That's an entitlement to live within these borders.
Prime Minister Dr. Rowley is remaining tight-lipped about the transfer of Permanent Secretary Kurt Meyer out of the Ministry of Education. A story in the Express newspaper quoted the Prime Minister as saying that he did what was needed to be done and that he had no interest in engaging in any public discussion on the matter. He declined to say which ministry Meyer had been transferred to. With Meyer gone, the Ministry of Education has one remaining permanent secretary, Simone Medina Williams, who is expected to manage the process of ensuring back pay for the public servants who accepted the 4% salary increase is paid in accordance with the time frame given by the Minister of Finance. There are also two deputy permanent secretaries in the ministry. On Wednesday, Meyer was transferred hours after the permanent secretary in the office of the Prime Minister, Maurice Sweet, issued a circular requesting each PS head of department to identify and temporarily assign one experienced accounts clerk with knowledge of the preparation of pay sheets to the Ministry of Education until December 2023. Meyer's transfer comes days after the Prime Minister explained about that fact that after the government had reached an agreement with the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, and after Finance Minister Com Imbert told the Parliament and the country public servants would receive their back pay by December, a permanent secretary, whom he did not name, wrote to his minister indicating the back pay could not be paid until next May. The Prime Minister added that he had a meeting with the head of the public service and had asked him if the public service had gone mad because this was not a singular arrangement. The Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce is calling on companies who experience a cyber attack to ensure they inform affected customers. The chamber made the call yesterday, even as the telecommunication services of Trinidad and Tobago were still probing the October 9th cyber attack that led to a data dump of its information on the dark web. Initially, TSTT said there was no compromise of data from customers, although it had not corroborated information in the public domain purported to be customer information. Later, Friday, however, it admitted that 6 gigabytes or less than 1% of the petabytes of the company's data was accessed. In a statement yesterday, the TNT Chamber said events of this nature are expected to become even more commonplace, and companies need to protect themselves from these attacks with the relevant software tools. The Greater San Fernando Area Chamber of Commerce claims it is aware shipping costs have been reduced, but this is not being passed on to consumers. It's a point that was highlighted during an interview with the News Power Now of the Greater San Fernando Area Chamber of Commerce, Kiran Singh, on Thursday. Mr. Singh told our newsroom that shipping costs have returned to levels before the COVID-19 pandemic took place, but this reduction is not being seen via reduced cost of goods.
Shipping costs have reduced to almost pre-pandemic levels, but we have not seen the direct reduction or even indirect reduction of some of the prices on the shelves at the supermarkets and even in markets. And it brings the question, how come? Why is it that we should have seen some reduction in some of the prices? And why do they continue to remain at elevated levels? Given the external factors that we are exposed to, we would have expected some decrease by now.
The business officials suggested consideration be given to extending the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. timeline being used to clear containers, especially going into the busy Christmas period.
There's also the factor of customs and the ports of entry of goods into this country, where we still have this 8 to 4 system of clearing containers, less than container load LCLs, break bulk, pallets, and so on. When we should have extended out to clear goods, especially as we go into the last quarter of the calendar year, which leads to Christmas, because of the volume of goods that enters the country. We should have some sort of system to work on the weekends, public holidays. We don't have that.
You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Thick, toxic fog has enveloped Pakistan's Lahore city, causing tens of thousands of people to fall ill in one of the country's most populated countries, or world's most populated countries. The fog in eastern Pakistan on Thursday pushed authorities to shut schools, markets, parks for 4 days and drove residents to wear face masks if they had to go outside. Al Jazeera's Dawn Tan is following the story.
Authorities have imposed a lockdown, forcing the closure of schools, markets and parks until the end of the week. Now, the decision comes after Lahore was repeatedly ranked as the world's most polluted city. Experts say that the burning of crop residue at the start of the winter wheat planting season is a key cause of the recent smog. Doctors have advised people to wear face masks and to stay indoors. But shopkeepers, they're pleading for the government to ease the lockdown in the city as they struggle to keep their businesses afloat.
Straight into weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy to cloudy conditions are expected with occasional showers and or periods of rain. There's a medium chance of a few heavy showers and thunderstorms occurring. These conditions will persist overnight. Gusty winds and street or flash flooding may accompany heavy showers or thunderstorms. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature this morning of 32 degrees Celsius, both at Piarco International Airport and Crown Point in Tobago. Presently, it's 26 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 27 at Crown Point. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, former Attorney General Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj says DPP not to be blamed for $55 million building fiasco. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley remains tight-lipped about transfer of permanent secretary out of the Ministry of Education. The TNT Chamber calls on companies who experience a cyber attack to ensure they inform affected customers. And thick smog shuts down Pakistan's Lahore, sickens tens of thousands. I'm Avril Sindilbab. That was News 2, 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you, Avril, for our major news. All right. You can join him again from 8 o'clock for our news brief. Let's take a look at what's happening on the highways and on the byways. Usual stuff. Piyarco towards Yui, Valse in the Port of Spain, you've got some traffic. Eastern Main Road from Aruca going to Tacarigua. Macoya Road is extremely heavy. Going to Curep and Champlain towards Amova Junction, you've got some traffic. On the Maraval from Mount Coco Road, Diego Martin, same thing, a bit heavy. No problems, really. A little bit of volume as you head up Lady Young Road from Coconut Drive. Let's head down south, see what's happening there. Lighter than usual, really. Yeah, lighter than usual. Got nothing really to tell you about in San Francisco. Volume here and there. Rivulet Road is not too bad. The Sorrow, you're going to pick up your traffic this morning. From by Monroe Road as you head northbound. Kelly Village, a heavy spot. I'm going to the back of the airport. Southern Main Road, vicinity of Chin Chin Road, and leaving Granny to the Valencia stretch. You've also got it. All right. Let's see if we got any more votes in our morning poll. Good morning to you, DJ
Just one
Ray.
more from Mogin.
Yeah, DJ Ray Mogins. Yeah. Let me see what we have on WhatsApp. Nothing. All right. Cool. All right. So that's it.
All right, so I'm getting a lot of messages. First, let me just correct a few things that we would have said just now. One is the issue of the PS signing. It's not an actual physical signature. It's an automated. Checks are automated, so the signatures come up when they print the checks. So they don't actually physically sign, but I think it's automated with their signature on it. So they are responsible. That doesn't change the responsible, right? The other issue is one, and everybody telling me don't call the name, right? So I ain't calling no names, right? The PS actually indicated based on staffing shortages in the establishment, it would be difficult to pay before May. So that's what he said. They said he's very eccentric. They said he was also the secondary PS, and only recently got the post as the main PS. So he was like, I don't know if it's deputy PS, but he was part of the ministry. He's been there for a while.
Yeah, they call it deputy PS. It is deputy PS.
It's deputy PS, right? So they said that was his position all the time, and he recently got the position. So those are all messages I got at the side with everybody saying don't call my name, but people who I trust and implicitly with the information they're giving me because they work in certain industries and certain ministries, but they can't talk. Anyway, our poll results are 20 people saying yes to the poll, that they agree that he should be they agree with the transfer, and 2 said no. All right, 20 said yes, 2 said no. All right, that's the results of our poll. There's Paul coming and going every minute, so what's the problem? Paul, you had to catch a flight, don't forget, better you go earlier, than later, because if everybody up in the airport is the flight is leave early,
He changed already, man. He ready to go?
That's where you go in New York, and you're going to freeze you're going to freeze everything after this weekend.
Unmute.
You're going to New York like that. Boy, put on a turtleneck.
We can't hear you, Paul. You're muted.
I hear you. We can't hear you.
Larger pieces of organic material take longer to freeze.
Yeah, New York freeze different, I tell you, New York and Canada different,
You don't freeze as quickly as smaller pieces of organic material.
You don't wear turtlenecks? I can't survive without a turtleneck in a
I have a turtleneck sweater, sir.
No, I use turtleneck underneath and over.
Too much information.
No, I
that level of information is unnecessary.
Parts of me in demand, so I had to protect everything, even my neck.
I would imagine the neck is the part that's most in demand. I would imagine so. Yes, no surprise there that the neck would be quite in demand.
And it doesn't require me taking off my junior.
Bills go from the lower house to the upper house,
Aye, aye, aye. This boy is a senator for life.
What for final assent or for approval? No, so while they may start in the lower house, they always are finally approved in the upper house. The finishing touches are
once the desk is stumped after I good.
Oh, you need that stumping, okay.
Yeah. Validation.
Mr. Patrick, good morning.
Yeah, morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
Morning,
this
Mr.
is
Patrick.
a blue flight thing for Richard. This is a blue flight thing. When I was about to come back to Trinidad, on the 5th of September. No, this is what I say now. On the 5th of September, I was to come to Trinidad. The flight was about 10-something in the night. Right? We was going on Walmart, my partner, my wife, and my friend Walmart. And she just get a text. We just change the flight there, so nobody never request to change the flight.
That's what they do.
So we had to rush to the airport in the morning, 6 o'clock. So I wonder if they just change flights of people there, so.
That has not been my experience.
Right, I hope that's not your experience. But they do it already for you because they change the whole flight until they put it off. No. The PS. How long is PS working in the ministry? A little while now, right? So therefore, the PS was competent, right?
Seemingly.
He wasn't the PS all the time. Mr. Patrick, he wasn't always the PS.
I know, but he was actually PS.
He was deputy PS.
Right, so therefore, he had something with him, right?
He was just waiting for his promotion.
Right. In the rush to pay back pay for a political decision, your PS come and say, we can't handle this. And you move him. I call that victimization. With the $55 million with the building, we don't pay for rent. Who PS or who the whole accountable for that, boy? So just so we just throw money in this country, right?
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because I see Jayanti Lakshmi Dayal is calling for that and the issue related to the convicted trafficker to be brought before the GSC National Security as agent matters. I agree with the issue related to the missing the trafficker who's absconded.
Yeah.
Being brought before the GSC.
National Security.
Because
the National Security DPP is criminal justice system.
I work in the government system, right? Who do we hold responsible for all these mismanaged millions of dollars in the country?
That's a good question, Mr. Patrick.
Money? We just throw away money, right? That $55 million.
We seem to only be willing to hold them responsible at the end of the 5-year cycles.
That's all. And everybody go their merry way. $55 million, we could have bought about 10 fire truck of that.
Well, I agree with those two things actually being sent to the GSC to get some further information. Because right now it's only he this one blaming that one blaming that one, this one blaming that one.
So when we need to start to do things different in this country, when it comes to the government money.
Mr. Patrick, the two of us will be long gone from here before this conversation even start back again.
So where we want to start, boy? How long we ask for a constitutional reform to change the constitution to
and that will not happen. And the Prime Minister was clear about that the other day when he spoke in Tobago. Because no party is going to get that constitutional majority to do this. None.
No.
Not for a long time.
Did someone recently have a constitutional majority?
It hurt me to see.
The partnership had it. But guess what? When you get in power there and you taste that power and you flying up and down and you being escorted up and down, you have time for constitutional reform. You have time to make things better for people. You only concerned about yourself.
So yeah, that day, how much billions of dollars we just show just survive?
Everybody always want to blame the PNM for all the ills in this place. But guess what? The PNM never had once they would have had it back in the day under Eric Williams. And Eric Williams, God bless his soul, never went that direction. You understand? Good? That issue of constitutional reform was not debate then.
Well, it did happen because the constitution changed to a Republican constitution. So
right, in 76. Yeah. Right, it did. Right? So, but after that, the NAR came into power, 33-3. That was no consideration, madam. They start a fight almost immediately. 86, they came into power. By 88, they split up. Club 88 formed. Then the ULF or whatever, or UNC, whatever form after that. Right? And then the People's Partnership came in 2010, 29 seats they had. You feel they study that? No.
Yeah, that was an opportunity for significant
left, right, and center.
That actually was that was an opportunity
all over the place
for significant change. Yeah, you're right. There could have been a lot of constitutional change at that time.
Yes, and a people's national movement in opposition they were powerless to do much about it, but they probably would have gone along with it.
Well, yeah, no choice at that point. But it was left.
Exactly. But it was not considered. The PNM has never had that kind of power since, and will probably never get it. Yeah. Because if the UNC, after all what they do in 2010 to 2015, come and still get 18 seats, 5 years later, with all what the PNM do, and all what the UNC didn't do, the UNC get a next seat again on top of that. So sometimes when I listen to Dr. Rowley on the platform exposing all the ills of the UNC, I wonder if he know what he's doing. It ain't changing nothing. They ain't getting one less vote.
Good morning, caller.
No.
Good morning, caller.
Yeah, morning, gentlemen.
Morning. Not hearing you. You need to speak up a bit.
Yeah, yeah, me better now?
Kinda.
Right. I was so disappointed yesterday, boy. I mean, the level of your program is so intellectual. I find that was so disrespectful, boy. And asking the man what school he went to and all kind of stupidness, boy. And I listen to his program religiously, you know. So I'm going to tape this program, you know. And if he come with anything on Wednesday night, I'm going to call in and play it, because I find it come like a blatant lie. The man never say extremist. Mr. Raguba said your comments are extreme. That have nothing to do with Islam. I find that was real disrespectful, boy.
Well, generally, you find when people can't win a substantive discussion or argument on the merit of the argument, they turn to attacking the messenger.
Yeah. I said so yesterday.
Yeah, because the program is one of the programs on our morning that the intellectual level is higher than the other. So let me just leave it that way. The only critique I have with all the program is when all they talk over one another. I know Steve is the brainchild there, so Steve, you had to come up with some app or something where you had to press the talk or something.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
When all they talk over one another.
Yeah.
And I compliment Richard for his composure, and I compliment Paul because for his foresight.
It wasn't that you didn't have that much foresight, you know. If you know the individual, I have interviewed the individual before, and as I said before, I have some objectives and prerequisites to interviews. One, there must be mutual respect. We could disagree strongly, but don't disrespect each other. And two, when you said it, and the objective is to find truth and accuracy in an issue. If I don't feel like getting it, I'm not participating.
Yeah, I find that was real disrespectful, but don't let that dampen all the spirit or keep up the program.
Please, really? Please.
Yeah, no fear there. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
that. We're too long, caller, and thanks for your sentiments this morning. Because when I heard him, you lying on national radio.
We have more
to prove your point. You're lying on Richard Ragubasing of all the people.
Good morning, caller.
Anyway.
Hello?
Good morning.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, morning. Happy Friday to all.
Yeah, big guy.
Yeah, I think this situation with the permanent secretary and the minister has to do with managerial skills because if I ask my staff to do something and I need done immediately because somebody higher is asking for it, and they come to me and tell me, listen, I can't do we can't do so because we don't have enough staff. I should speak and say, listen, let us try and work a way out to get it done because I can give you an example, right? You have 3 people dealing with 2,400 public housing buildings in New York. One person deals with 500, and the federal government is asking for certain things to be done for money to be saved. And they had a director to do it. The federal government was told that the 3 people can't do it. You know what they're doing? They're not going to transfer the director. They have decided in the next 2 weeks to hire more staff. So it has to do with managerial skills. And if I tell you that I don't have enough staff to do something, you find a way to work it out, not transfer me. I find it, as Mr. Patrick said, I know you all wouldn't agree, but as Mr. Patrick said, I call it victimization. Instead of sitting down and trying to work out the situation, I say, guess what? You do as I say or get the hell out of here. That's the attitude, and that's not a very good democratic attitude. That's just my point, gentlemen. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, gentlemen. I want to concur in the other and second the motion that gentleman to call it. Them did a good job in handling that situation, which shouldn't have gone to that way. And Paul, I'm really impressed with you, and please maintain that. But like I said, as he said, y'all try. The only thing is try not to talk over each other. But believe this, what I'm saying here. You guys, this show is one of the best shows coming out of Trinidad in the morning. For some reason, y'all are better than everybody else, you know. And to the gentleman who said they changed the flight and him, JetBlue. Listen, the airlines have the right to do it. They change flight at time for many reasons. MDFA may have a mechanical problem, or the flight coming in is the airplane that's going to be used to do that flight, so it might be delayed somewhat, or you may have crew being ill or got an accident, they can't show up, something like that. So these things you always want to be.
My issue wasn't that the flight was delayed. To be fair, my issue wasn't that. My issue was the miscommunication of the decreased delay time to 10 last night. When I went back up to deal with that, it wasn't so.
Okay. When you book in the ticket, all the airlines have a section where they ask you for your phone number and your email for notification. So a lot of people still don't pull those things out. So in case of any kind of delay, they will notify you. You know, so but they basically it's all about safety. Safety.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, keep up the good work. And I really enjoy your.
Happy Diwali.
All right. Who's the Captain Ron?
Thanks, man.
Yes, Captain Ron.
All right, Captain. Thank you.
United Airlines pilot. Fly United Airlines, Paul. What you doing going jet? You know a pilot. We now know a pilot personally in a kind of way. We don't know. Well, all you have to do is walk on the flight and say power breakfast show and good to go.
And therein is exposed your public service mentality. Always trying to pull a string to get past the normal procedure. Always.
And the say, excuse me, sir.
My name Paul on a plane and take already, you know. You get kicks. I know pilots, you know.
You did the mile high.
You pay for your meal, sir.
Your name calling a plane.
You want breakfast?
You're not doing that in the convenience on the aircraft is illegal, right?
Doing what?
People calling your name.
We have a lot of calls, gentlemen. Good morning.
You didn't call my name from that little room, eh?
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Yeah. Staffing issue.
Morning.
Back pay is always a staffing issue because you're going to do more work than you were doing before with your normal staff. So you either go with overtime, as my sister would have done working for the Ministry of Works in Port of Spain. And as I got my first job at Ministry of Works area as a checker because they were going to do back pay and they needed more people, of course. and you had to go and dig out the paper files. Well, I didn't know how it was stacked, so I was in the outer office, and they went into the vault, they called it, a room, a dusty room, with a wooden building, and files all over the place. And the people who were familiar with how it was stacked would go in and get it, and take some breeze on the outside, and then come in, as it wasn't AC. And we did the back pay, extract the data into sheets and so on, people calling out the names and the various items, and whoever had the name would write it down. And then the auditors came. So you need more people. If you tell someone in a particular department, I need X, Y, Z, and that's not something that is being done all the time, the person is going to tell you we can't do it, right? The immediate implication is, over time, for more staff. I don't see how that gets into an antagonistic situation where somebody gets transferred and you get all kinds of insinuations. That's a kind of natural thing. It would have happened so many times before. What level of hostility would this permanent secretary had created around that scenario that it had to be transferred? It's a normal.
Mr. Pinal, stick up in. Let me answer this question. At the end of the day, I'm hearing you, and I think you're making a good point in that something like that, a back pay would require extra staff or extra hours. But who, at the end of the day, will be responsible for that? Not the PS also, to ensure that it takes place?
A conversation was responsible. It didn't have.
We don't know what the correspondence had in it. We don't know. We don't know. Everybody is presuming they know we all know what the initial request or mandate was. We don't know what the response was to the minister and the minister's response to the PS. We don't know.
But I could make the assumption.
But I agree that the first port of call should not be aggressive maneuvers.
Yeah, that's really kind of way to govern a country.
But it may not have been the first port of call either, because we don't know.
Before
exactly.
We don't know. We don't know if there was a negotiation and said, well, let's try and hire more staff. We don't know.
But
we're making presumptions without information.
That's true.
Well, I am going to make the presumption that is saying that we can't meet your deadline. The scenario would be we can't meet your deadline unless we do so and so, because we could meet your deadline.
But Mr. Pinal, the impression given is that was the first port of call. That listen, it can't happen.
We don't know.
That's the impression you're getting.
This may have been a verbal communication at one point, but obviously, if you're putting it in writing, you will see. I mean, we're talking about senior people here, right?
Mm-hmm.
A person would say we cannot meet your deadline unless, X, Y, Z, or we will meet your deadline, but this is what we require.
But still, you have to put it in place. You as the PS is still the person who want to put it in place.
And I don't see any way how it started. There is no way that this could start that would lead to a hostile ending. There is really, even if the conversation was a verbal one that started a little off, that, however it started, and then it went into writing, I don't see how it could end up with somebody being transferred. I feel there is bad blood. Before that, there was some kind of antagonism before.
That's quite possible. That's quite possible.
That is what that is.
That's quite possible.
No way. I got that job when that was my first job at around 20 or so. And I'm a senior citizen now. I've seen a lot of things. To me, this reads like bad blood. And I'll give somebody else. I'm seeing bad blood.
Yeah, thanks. It probably has a history behind it. And let me tell you something. You know how many arguments we used to have with our CEO? When you sit in meetings and you're getting excuse after excuse and you're blaming this one and you're blaming that one. You in charge. You're the chief executive officer. You are in charge. Get it done. Call your officers to book ensure that they get the drain fixed, the material to buy it, whatever. And
Just
I
before
had
I
a
leave.
public, all you can remember, I had a public spot in a statutory meeting with the CEO over
Your CEO was challenging
children.
around you. One of the newspapers reported that the PS and the minister had a contentious working relationship. You all have a great day. Be safe. Happy Diwali. Have a great day.
Hey,
Safe travels, Paul.
Bye.
Hope your plane leaves.
Well,
I hope bye.
I know. You know, if you had called me last night, you could have stayed up here and just
No,
5 minutes away from the airport.
No. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the offer, but no, thank you. No. What? I just stay by you and Zina right there? No, man, you self.
It's true, Zina closer. You're right, Zina closer.
Exactly.
Precisely.
Precisely.
Richard closer.
Yeah, I go by Zina. Don't worry.
All of us closer.
As a matter of fact, you don't even by Zina right now.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Zina, raise up.
She wouldn't be able to keep quiet in the background.
It's true, eh?
She don't have that discipline.
No, she
All right,
doesn't. Bye-bye, Paul.
Good morning.
Safe flight.
Good morning.
Safe flight, Paul.
Oh, they all put me on hold. Good morning.
But he's on hold. Somebody have you on hold.
Let's take out mortgage on that name. Let's take out mortgage on me. My dear, don't give that instruction to the airline with you trying to override it. But go and come back safe. Have a good flight and come back safe. And you, Wendell, you have a pint of snake oil home.
Yeah, right. I
believe it does massage your neck.
All right. All righty.
Steve, don't run me now, Richard.
All my lines are lit up, so.
All right, but I want to ask Richard if he had a nice cup of coffee yesterday. Your nerves were really intact, boy. You just were me with a fall up and you're bubbly rain with a race. Thank you for drinking that. Whoever brand it is, drink it more often.
Okay. Thanks. I'll take that on that advice.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. I would just like to talk about the PS matter.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the first thing I would like to say is that every year during the budget, we normally hear of the number of vacancies that there are in each ministry. And in some instances, it's as much as 60 to 70%. And every year, you don't see any substantial decrease, if any at all, in the vacancies being filled. We have many people in this country who are seeking employment, and it appears as though the government is not making enough effort to fill all of these vacancies. So, in essence, if a PS cannot complete the job by the end of December, it is obvious that they are short-staffed. And if they are short-staffed, and they only have 30% staff, for instance, instead of 100% staff, they would obviously not be able to meet their commitments. So I think that the Minister of Finance, the ministry, and whoever is involved in employing people in the government and doing the administrative work should first look at filling these vacancies so that next year, when the budget comes around, we will see that we have between 90 and 100% of people who are fully employed. Thank you and have a great day.
All right, you as well. Thank you. Good morning.
Remember, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong. Certain vacancies must be offered first to people within the establishment, right? And that takes time. Filling up vacancies people feel it's just a simple thing of bringing in extra people. But you first have to allow the people within the organization.
Generally in line ministries, there will be internal advertisements first.
Right.
So it goes around, and I'm not even talking about a particular department, because you can have internal vacancies in a particular department. And when I say department, each line ministry has various, I'm calling them departments, but they have various divisions or companies that come under a line ministry.
Right.
Within those respective departments or companies, you're going to have internal advertisements sometimes for a position that's vacant.
Right.
Then it will generally go out. The line ministry by itself often has its own internal advertisements that will go out across the entire line ministry. And in terms of getting people with a particular skill set, if they can't get it in the internal environment, then they will go out. So yeah, but sometimes it goes straight out. So it really depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You know,
Thanks.
if you think that the capacity lies within your department and its mobility for somebody inside, especially if you can get several people applying, you'll probably keep it internal. But if not,
moves at a snail's pace.
But if it depends on the agency.
At such a slow pace.
Yeah, it depends on the agency. Some move faster than others. Because some decide from the onset, look, I know there's not enough capacity for this particular skill set internally, so they will send it internally, but also externally.
Okay.
So you would get candidates.
You cover both bases one time.
Yeah. So you get internal candidates and external candidates.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Morning, sir. Sorry about that.
I wanted to ask a few questions. I hope you could answer, please. Regarding what transpired yesterday morning, if it is a caller used similar language and was abusive to a host, would that be tolerated the same way that it was yesterday?
No.
And what is the difference?
I called in Spanish Melcy. He was my guest.
Okay, so a guest has more liberty to berate or be disrespectful to a host than a regular caller.
I'm not saying that. If you're a caller, so if you decide to chastise Richard, I will put you in your place. And I did put Inshan in his place. And Richard handled it in the most amazing way he could think about. But as a guest, you know.
I think what the caller trying to say is that he should have been cut off just like any other caller.
Yes.
No.
No,
Wendell. We cannot do that. As a guest, I cannot cut you off. I will say thank you for yes. But Wendell, you've been in the show for 18 years.
I know that. And I know. And he was
No.
Yeah,
as a guest, I
hang up on us.
We have guests hang up on us, but we don't hang up on guests. My parents brought me up. They didn't drag me up.
I'm just saying, Inshan, this is my opinion, and you'll have to agree with this. Inshan should have been told, Inshan, I'm sorry, but this language, this interview is not going the way.
Well, I did tell him, and I did put a stop to it yesterday, and then he realized, and he went. So
I hear you, Mr. Khan. I don't agree with you. I respect your view. But I see that as a bit of double standard because
it's not double standard.
Well, that's the way I feel. But second of all, my memory isn't too good these days. But wasn't that the same gentleman when the residents of Valsains South wanted to do something similar and put up their guard boot and the barrier that he protested and said that they can't make that area a gated area? Do you remember such things happening?
I remember.
I can't recall.
Yes, okay. And finally, as it relates to the investigation into the chief secretary, have you heard anything happening with that?
No.
Which one of the investigations, though?
The one that related to when they had the private meeting and they were trying
whistleblower?
The leaked phone call. The leaked meeting.
The whistleblower?
The leaked meeting when they were talking about.
Have you heard anything about that?
No.
You haven't gotten any updates.
Well, this is Trinidad. Have a good day, gentlemen.
All right.
All right.
Good morning.
Good Good morning again. On a serious note, I want to tell you all, from my experiences in service, anytime you say back pay, the staff knows that it is overtime. You're working late, either you would get paid for some of it. Most times, we used to get extra leave.
Compensatory time off.
And that's right. And when you work late, they'll buy you dinner. Okay? And especially if you have to work on Saturday or Sunday, just to get everything in time, you know you'll be paid. So it's normally worked out, and that said ministry I've worked in all my life, and it has been back pay over after back pay, and working in that pay sheets department. You understand? So you have different departments will come into play, their pay sheets, audit, the accounts, the NIS section.
You're saying back pay is prioritized.
Yes, but we know, and most times people like it, They're glad say sometimes you work late, and you get your extra leave. How many days off, or you get extra pay, and then you get your dinner in the night and merry and get the work done. So it's not the first back pay. You understand? It wouldn't be the last. So that issue should never arose at all. Thank you.
Yeah. There has to be some history why that went the way it went. There has to be a history. That wouldn't have gone so just like that.
Deputy PS, that recently became, I assume he was an acting PS, because you don't transition from deputy PS to permanent PS just like that. There's an acting. Usually, So I'm not so sure what the circumstance was. So.
Morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Wow, I thought I wasn't getting on. First, I want to say to Pinal, what he talking about, that had to be in the 60s. This is 2023. And the caller who called and talked about how you all talk over each other and thing, and Steve, you need to deal with that. And I also want you to, I must commend you for you recognize when there are calls and you all are talking. So I must commend you for that. Now, Richard, this morning, I must commend you. You handled that situation like a boss contra Marshall Montano. You behave just like that when that young girl in that superior school was gallerying herself, and she handled that situation well. You sometimes is recognize, you have to recognize when somebody wants a confrontation. And Inshan wanted a confrontation with y'all this yesterday, and I am so glad you handle it well. He loves to call, he disrespect everybody. He's called the police donkey, Guadaha, kind of foolishness. And I am saying he is so upset because the contracts that he was getting from the government, it is no more. So he taught in feelings and it's spilling out to other people. So I must commend you, Richard, again. Go to the head of the class this morning and take a bow for the way you handled that situation. You were well brought up. Now to that PS, as Zina said, when is back pay? When is coming to the end of the financial year? All stops are pulled out. You know you have to work late. It is something that, listen, I don't understand. That PS has to be a new person because you have to understand. It had to be he something going on there with he and whoever is the minister. Now, the I don't know if y'all could remember when Anil Roberts was the Minister of Sports. Remember he and his PS used to have ring down bacchanal? Ephiba Wilkinson, I never forget it. And I know Ephiba Wilkinson, he ain't easy. He was standing his ground. And eventually he was transferred. Yes, yes, y'all could remember. I mean,
And
when I
then the PS that end up in all the bacchanal with live sport.
yes, exactly. You know, man, when I see Ephiba Wilkinson used to deal with Annie Roberts, I say, yes, Annie, you meet your match. Because I know he ain't taking no foolishness from Annie Roberts. So, boy, people must know the job. And that PS have to be a Green Hornet. So I didn't respond to the poll. I am saying yes to the poll. Y'all have a wonderful
All right.
week. Bye.
Take care, Miss Emily. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All righty.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Usually when it comes to back pay, generally accounting divisions will try to prioritize it because they will know people want their money. You know, you would know that staff would want their money. And so you would try to see what systems you need to put in place to make sure that people get their money.
Yeah.
Because it's money
A set
owed.
of people then started walking department stores and things and started pick out stuff, you know.
Yeah,
for
because
Christmas,
it's money owed and it's money.
Yeah.
And it's money with less value than if you had gotten it at the correct time that you were supposed to have gotten it. But it never is.
More value.
It's always retroactive.
Yeah.
So the longer you delay, the money becomes less valuable. Because you always have,
you mean in that respect?
Yeah. So you try to pay it as quickly as possible.
Yep. Ain't nothing like a lump sum, you know. Trust me.
Yeah.
I could do it a lump sum now. A couple people owing me, I could do it now. Before Christmas. And anyway. But coming back to our show. I know we have had very contentious people. We've dealt with many contentious people. We dealt with a minister at time who walked by the studio, and as he reached the glass and he looked inside the glass and he see inside it, he turned and walked straight back out. When he looked, he see Richard Raghubar Singh, Steve Khan, Wendell Stephen, and Dr. Morgan Job. He turned and hightailed it straight back out of there.
Who is that again?
Dr. Rambachan. I will never forget that morning.
I think it was probably Dr. Joby Saw.
It was Dr. Joby Saw, and he said, I ain't coming in there. And he turned. We are the next noisy one. Who
I know Dr. Job, strangely enough, Dr. Job, when you had a guest in studio, even though he disagreed fundamentally with that person, oftentimes he'd be quieter.
Very quiet. He was for Dr. Rowley.
Until something pokes him.
Remember the first time Dr. Rowley came?
Yeah. Then
Dr. Rowley had said to me, Wendell, I'm not coming there. And eventually he came just before the general elections of 2015. He came. And remember, we have a picture. We all posed together. He was standing next to Dr. Job. Dr. Job was generally quiet in our interview until we went upstairs.
Yeah. Then he had a lot of opinions.
And two of them nearly fight.
And a lot of opinions. Oh my God.
We also had Philip Alexander. Remember a morning we were working with Rhoda Barrett at the time. And he started carry on in the lobby and leave, remember?
Yeah.
Say he's not coming in there with Rhoda.
Yeah.
But it's always somebody else. It's never Richard and Wendell or Steve. It's always somebody else with us.
I remember the time when Louis Lisek, we call Louis Lisek and he hung up.
Yes, Louis Lisek and PM. When Steve tell him, you are now live on Power Breakfast, yeah, well, I'm now not live.
No.
And he hung up the phone.
Well, we have a rich history.
Yeah.
Of dealing with,
we are custom. We are custom.
We have had some. Yeah, we've had some.
We are custom. I can't forget him. And then the other guy, the smart guy, remember? Who started to tell Steve all kind of thing.
Was it Rodney Smart?
Get up and walk on the studio.
What was his father?
His father is Anthony Smart's brother. I can't remember the name. But you know, that guy wrote an article. He wrote a series of articles in the newspapers recently about his disorder, right? His bipolar disorder.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he had a few articles coming out. I think it's like over the last couple months. And he spoke about his disorder and how it deteriorated. Remember, he was the one who attacked the policeman in the savannah at the time, and he grabbed the policeman back.
He took the policeman's hat, yes.
Yeah. He spoke about his disorder. He definitely has a disorder.
Yeah.
You know, but he's extremely intelligent, very bright, you know.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Until we meet again on Tuesday. Happy Diwali.
All right, yes, because we're going into a long weekend. How could I possibly forget? And of course, Shubh Diwali to the Hindu community across Trinidad and Tobago and Trinidadians generally, because we all celebrate it one way or the other. Even if it's to eat curry come Monday or Sunday. Anytime.
Mainly Sunday, leftovers Monday.
For Diwali, we feel compelled to eat curry, and there are long lines to get roti skin and bus up shot. Oh my goodness, if you haven't ordered it already, you're late.
Yeah.
There are always lines.
This is when I
tried making bus up shot once. It was a complete disaster. But some different people told me, just keep doing it, and you eventually become an expert.
Yeah.
You gotta keep eating it though.
Anyway, theatre is on next week, Saturday and Sunday. Tickets are out. Bacchanal Bubble and Bad Behavior is on at Sapa next week. It's our final 2 shows for the year, actually. And the final 2 shows of this play, which is absolutely hilarious. So the tickets are available at K Squared Fashion, C3 and Gulf City, Fens of Marabella by the Roundabout, and of course at Creme Fresh in Brentwood Mall in Chagonas for those of you in Central Trinidad. And of course the Sapa box office will open next week, Wednesday. We have a long weekend. Have a fantastic weekend, whatever you do. And above all, remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health. You should be at the play. It's a best stress reliever, as good a stress reliever that you'll ever get. Trust me on that.
All right, happy Diwali to the Hindu community and to Trinidad and Tobago in general. Folks, have an absolutely wonderful long weekend. Be careful on the roads. Look out for our young ones and remember to let go and let God. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.